and on Garda Síochána Road Safety Authority, we're once again asking road users to support our efforts to keep everybody safe over this May Bank Holiday weekend. Unfortunately, to date, there's been 55 deaths on Irish roads, and that's a figure which obviously is devastating for all those families involved. And we want to make sure that we reduce that going into the um, next part of the year, and particularly over this weekend. Look, as weather improves as well, many of us will be taken to the roads to enjoy the outdoor activities, and we expect a little bit more travel, particularly over this weekend. So motorcyclists in particular will be taking advantage of the brighter, longer days and improved road conditions. We're really appealing to motorists this weekend to, first of all, to the motorcyclists themselves to make sure that their vehicles are in perfect mechanical order after possibly being laid up over the winter periods. Make sure the tyres are at the correct pressure, make sure all their lights are working, and make sure they do their powder checks to make sure everything is in operation, and also to make them as visible as possible, drive on dipped headlights, and also wear fluorescent jackets, particularly when they're on the motorbike during the day, as well as obviously in the evening times and night times. We're also asking for members of the public, then the road users, to be aware that there will be more motorcyclists on the road, and to just look twice is what the advice is when it comes to motorcycles, because they're not as big as a car or a truck or a bigger vehicle. So you need to look twice to make sure, if you can see the motorcycle coming. And then obviously the perception of speed and distance is quite difficult with a motorcycle, because the bike, it's not as clear as it would be with a normal car, maybe traveling along the road. So we're asking people to make sure that they look and keep everybody safe this weekend. And we all have a role to play in road safety, and driver, it's a vital role in protecting themselves and most vulnerable users. So we're asking drivers to abide by the speed limit, slow down, and always choose a speed that's appropriate to driving conditions. The weather conditions have been very good over the last week or so. Over the weekend, I'm not sure what the weather forecast is, but no matter what the weather forecast is, people should drive to the conditions. We also asking,
I suppose
you know,
just on that, though, those weather conditions, I suppose that's particularly pertinent when you're looking at the May Bank Holiday weekend. I suppose it's one of the first bank holidays of the year where there is that increased amount of people on the roads, and with the events taking place in Clare and across the Midwest, I suppose, with the game in Ennis on Sunday, the Great Limerick Run as well, there's plenty of reason for people to be on the road, so all that reason to be extra careful as well.
No, we absolutely expect that there will be an increase in both pedestrian, cyclists, road users in general over this weekend, because of exactly, we're coming into that summer period now, and people absolutely want to get out and get about, and there are a lot of activities going on. So we're asking people as well. Look, the most important thing is that, look, at no point is it safe or acceptable to get behind the wheel of a vehicle after having an intoxicant such as alcohol or drugs. And this weekend we have an enforcement operation focusing on driving under the influence of intoxicant, not wearing the seatbelt, speeding, and using the mobile phone while driving. They're the key identifiers that we have in relation to a causation for fatal and serious injury traffic collisions, and they're the key ones we want people to focus on. And look, I suppose just generally on Garda Síochána analysis of road traffic incidents, note that there's an overall increase in the number of lifesaver offences we've detected. So since between March and February 2026, so a 12-month period, we've seen a 36% increase in speed detections, 10% increase in number of people using their mobile phones when driving, 6% increase in number of people not wearing their seatbelts, and the instance of intoxicated driving is up 4% over the previous 12 months. So those figures would state that there are still people out obviously not adhering to the advice, and putting everybody at risk. So we're appealing to those people to change their habits, and also appealing to everybody else just to keep everybody safe.
And I suppose back to that main message of the motorcyclists as well, I suppose there was only 3 deaths so far recorded this year, an 80% decrease on this time last year, and of course 29 people using a motorcycle lost their lives on Irish roads this year. A huge improvement, I suppose, on that numbers, but in 2026 to date, but still 3 people too many.
Yeah, 26 motorcyclists, that's including both the drivers and the billion passengers, died in the Irish Road 2025. And look, the number has significantly, I suppose, increased, and there was 195 motorcyclists involved in serious injury collision during 2025. I think that's a really important figure as well, because the serious injury ones can be slightly forgotten about when we're always counting the fatalities. But if you come off a motorcycle your chance of being seriously injured is very, very high. Look, I'm a motorcyclist myself. I do a lot of motorcycling, so I know the dangers associated with it. So all I can do is appeal to the motorcycling community to, you know, play their part, make sure that they drive within the speed limits, drive within the conditions, make yourself as visible as possible, and drive defensively. So what I mean by that is, look, you need to slow down when if there's other hazards around, so that you're not increasing your chance of having a collision or coming into conflict with somebody. So look, that's the message for the weekend. We obviously want people to enjoy themselves over this weekend, and hopefully, if everybody adheres to the advices, that we will have an uneventful bank holiday weekend, May bank holiday weekend this year, in relation to fatalities or serious injury collisions.